Thanks everyone for joining, and hopefully my plan is not to bore everybody here with the slides. So we'll try to build some agentic workflows, but more importantly, what I wanted to talk in the next 30, 40 minutes is about agentic workflows. How do you essentially build, manage, and scale them out as you kind of grow into complexity? And to introduce myself, I'm the founder and CTO at Orkes. We are Before we get started, so Orkes essentially is a workflow engine. Came out of Netflix. Conductor, I was the original author, and Orkes is a cloud-hosted version of Conductor. So before we get started, right? This is an interesting thing. We see a lot about agents these days. Everybody's talking about agents, and agentic workflows are a big thing. So here's a very quick question for everybody here, right? What is an AI agent? Any thoughts? Yeah.
It's a task. Just the task, default task, and then it may receive a sentence.
Fair. Yeah.
Orchestration.
Yeah. If you think about an agent, right? Agent. The most important thing about an agent is that it is supposed to have an agency. It should be able to autonomously execute certain things, right? When you think about traditional workflows, it's very procedural, very deterministic. You know exactly what you're going to do. You have all the steps very well laid out and predefined. You can make very educated guesses or determine, how it's going to execute. The most important thing about agentic workflows are that, they are inherently non-deterministic in the sense that, they operate using a language model. So, the step that they might execute next, you can't really have very well-defined inputs and outputs that you can do kind of regression testing or unit testing. And if you think about agentic workflows, right, there are some core parts to it. I don't think this is very new here, but given an input, an agent essentially has kind of a planner. So, if you give a goal, it is able to kind of understand, what you are trying to do. It plans out, how it is going to achieve the goal, right? And to do that, it essentially leverages the memory system, some sort of, short-term, long-term, and a working memory. But more importantly, it has its tools. And what are the tools, right? Essentially, tools are, think about APIs. If you want to send an email, that's a tool. It could be workers, right? Maybe, processing some data. It could be also using agents as a way to collaborate and talk to, like essentially in a multi-agent system. Code tools are very well known today, right? And then it has essentially an executor that takes the plan, executes that, hopefully in a distributed environment in such a way that, essentially you can monitor how it is progressing, and you can look at the results, outputs, and potentially embed humans as part of the entire agentic system, right? So when you want a feedback from the human, you are able to kind of get the feedback, maybe correct the course of action and continue forward, or maybe terminate the execution. And so that brings up another question, right? Is it why is it hard to scale agentic workflows in production, right? It's pretty easy to build out one. But if you want to start kind of, putting into production, then, there are few things that start to kind of pop up. One of them is the interactions can get really complex. Like if you think about a very simple agent, which has it can take either left or right, then maybe there are only two possible actions. But if you think about it, it starts to become more and more, if there are more and more control branches, then it can get really complex. And then comes how do you kind of debug that, monitor that if it took a particular decision as to, to do certain things, you want to be able to reason about, why it took a certain action. And being able to get insights into, why some of the things happen becomes more and more important, right? And then, usual stuff, observability, metrics, if you end up running an infinite loop and, end up using all your token allowances overnight, who's keeping tabs on those things? And then things that we as engineers don't really love, but need one, is all about security, governance, and compliance. So this is where, what I like to think about it is to have the agentic systems in production, you need a runtime environment, right? Essentially a runtime that can actually handle all of those things. I'm not going to kind of read through this, but things that we talked about in terms of, once you start putting your agents into production, you should be able to kind of have a runtime that takes care of all of these aspects of access control, governance, visibility, metrics, and all of those things. So this is where workflow engines becomes very important. And to be honest, this slide is a bit older. Today, I think it's not something new when we think about workflows as a core platform for running agents. But agents and workflows kind of go hand in hand together. And if you think about workflow engines, they were designed for doing this kind of orchestration. Now, what you are saying is, let's bring in an AI agent that is essentially driving these workflows as opposed to humans or the programmers. But when you think about workflows, they are very well designed for this kind of operations, right? They often do the task orchestration. They can do parallel execution, decision-making process. They are designed to handle errors, recovery from the errors, and they provide all the necessary monitoring, control, everything that you kind of aspire, in a true agentic system. And as you kind of scale the agent-based architecture, right? Like, workflow engines also provide some of the very important things, right? Things like, for example, every task inside a workflow can be running in a distributed environment. So, that allows you to kind of scale how you are operating with language models. And that becomes even more important if you are running self-hosted models that you want to kind of run in a distributed environment. You could potentially build real-time feedback and monitoring loops. Oftentimes it has been said, right, that agents are nothing but LLM inside a loop. And then you can add humans inside the whole thing. And then feedback loops for more deterministic output, right? You can provide, let's say, instructions for an LLM to produce output that conforms to specific schemas or certain requirements. And if it fails, you can put a loop inside it to, keep retrying with a feedback loop until it kind of achieves or kind of gives up. But no, it allows you to essentially make it a little bit more deterministic from that angle. All right, so I'm going to skip this, and what I want to do is I want to kind of show essentially how do we kind of go around building an agent using Conductor. So as I mentioned, right, Conductor is an orchestration platform. So we'll start with something very simple. So we have all kind of seen various examples of deep research. So I thought of like building something pretty simple like that. So let's say, we want to build an agent that, given a goal, can go and do some research on a particular topic and, comes up with an output. And ideally, this runs for a longer period of time. Maybe this is running on a schedule, on a cron schedule, maybe doing a daily run. For example, let's say, what if I want to find the top 5 stocks for the day to trade and get some insights? Maybe I run this every day at midnight, or maybe a couple of hours before the market opens, and then use it to make my trading decisions. And then I can leverage language models like, for example, OpenAI GPT-4, right? To do the task planning. Maybe I can use Perplexity to do kind of the deep research, right? So what I've done is a very simple 2-3 step workflow. First step is to kind of, I'm leveraging essentially a GPT-4o model here that allows me to kind of research a particular topic and come up with a plan. And as you can see, right, I don't really have any prompts written down here, but rather I'm using a templating engine here. And then this plan is going to give me an array of JSON output that contains the entire plan that I'm going to run it inside a loop. And then I'm going to use the deep research model from Perplexity to kind of do a lot more real-time research on this one, right? So let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into the prompts. So this is my planner, and I have kept it very simple here. Of course, this can be modified to be a little bit more accurate and whatever not. But essentially, given a topic, I'm asking it to produce a JSON with a list of steps as plans. And I have tested this model with a few of the models. So I have associated those with the plans. So let's say if I see how this plan is going to work, I want to see is let's verify how this is going to work here. This is essentially the prompt management page that allows me to kind of write the prompts, test it out, make sure that they are well tested and works with the intended models. Yeah, so it looks like it is doing what it is supposed to do. So if I take one of the objectives, then I am going to put together another very, very simple prompt here that is designed to work with Perplexity. And I'm asking it to do some deep research, right? Now, let's say if I want to run this deep research engine or the thing, right? Like here is it, right? And if I run this workflow, as you can see, right, like this is going to take a while. This is one of the reasons why you need also a distributed runtime environment or a workflow engine or a durable execution engine, because one, all of these calls are going to take few seconds, and depending upon how much you are paying for the throughput on the language models, this could take seconds to minutes. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that your state is persisted. This is the very first task here, but this could be fifth task. If that's the case, you want to make sure that if it fails, it continues from where it left off. So here it is, right? The first step is over. There are some tools and everything it has given. And then I'm going to kind of use perplexity. In the interest of time, let's look at one of the completed executions or something that completed decently enough. I think I terminated this halfway down the line, but yeah, here it is, right? After a few iterations. So here it is, right? I asked it to gather some historical data, gave the tools and whatever not. And here is the output. And I can collect this, put together a simple UI using maybe Cursor, maybe Bolt, any of those, AI coding or site generator tools. And there you go, right? Like, and this can keep running. You can decide how long this loop to run. Maybe you can have more nested loops. I can add one more task that takes the output of this task. And then, does further refinement. I can probably put in some more, React-like prompts to do some more kind of critical thinking on it and do it, right? And there go, right? Like this is my essentially a deep research engine that does kind of a lot more. And I can essentially use a committee-based approach as well, right? Like I can probably do instead of a single task here, one of the things that I can do here is I can run them in parallel, right? I can maybe use a text complete task with perplexity, maybe with GPT, and then get multiple models to kind of think about it, use another model. So whatever you can think of, you can essentially build and design here, right? So that's a very, very simple example of a deep research engine that you can put together using Conductor very quickly. Let's take a look at a slightly more complex example. If I were to, let's say, build something that can do a little bit more complex things, right? So let's think about a planner agent, right? That if you give a set of tools, a goal, and some context, is able to plan and execute, right? Now we are talking about something that is a little bit more than just executing a series of steps in a loop, but rather actually coming up with a plan. And when you think about a plan, right, we are talking about decision-making aspect of it, probably doing some loops and whatever not. So let's say I have built an agent planner. So, we have a task called an agent planner here. What it does is, it takes a few things, a well-tested model that is supported, more importantly, a goal, some context, and tools, right? So what I'm doing here is that, like, let's say I'm building a very simple customer service agent, right? And it can essentially look up my CRM to get the top N customers, send an email or SMS to those customers based on, whatever I'm trying to do, right? So maybe I might be scheduling this to run at least once a month to get the top 5 customers, send them a thank you note saying, thank you for being a loyal customers, maybe here is some coupons and whatever not, right? Depending upon what you are trying to do. So let's say if we execute in a very, very simple one, let's say I want to say, get me top 5 customers, right? And the interest of time, again, let's, as you can see, right, like what I'm doing is, yeah, here is right. Here's my input saying, give me top 5 customers. And what it does is, it comes up with a plan. And I am essentially fitting it to another task that can actually execute this entire thing into another execution space. So let's look at it, right? What it is trying to do. Here it is, right? We gave a task called top 5 customers. It schedules the task. Of course, I don't have anything running here, so it timed out. But if you look at the inputs, it gives n equal to 5. Assuming that I have this service running, it's going to go and find the top 5 customers. But let's look at a little bit more complex examples. So here, what we are doing is here, my input is a bit more complex. I want to find top 5 customers in US, not just top 5 customers, right? So, you would want to find the customers and then filter them by the country, which means, you are doing a little bit more. So here, if you look at the plan it created is, you get the top 5 customers. For every customers, just check if the country code is US or not. Now the question comes is like, how do you know, for this customer output, what is the field that determines what's the country code? So the way to do that is like when you look at the input, what it does is it also identifies the schemas that are maintained in the system. So, there is the entire notion of maintaining the schemas. So I have a customer schema and I know that, there is a field called email address, there is a country code, and then it can use it to do those things. So now, you can essentially build a lot more complex agents that are not just, a loop with a single task, but rather a lot more complex decision-making process. You can put them to run on a schedule, use it to send out an email, but that gets you a lot more powerful systems. Now let's look at a little bit more real-world example use case, right? So we have all been through this, which is interviews. So here is a more complex and a slightly more real-world example of an automated agent that can be used to conduct very contextual, language-specific interviews when you are screening candidates, right? Oftentimes, what you end up doing is either you have to subscribe to a tooling that charges you, whatever thousands of dollars a month, or you are essentially have a predetermined list of questions, or you send them a lead code or HackerRank assignments. But what if you could make it a little bit more agentic, right? Where just like a human, you are assessing a candidate based on the language that you are interviewing them or a particular concept like distributed systems, databases, or whatever not. And then based on their answers, you can refine your questions and everything, right? So if you think about it, this is how we would do, right, as humans. And this is exactly how the workflow is modeled. You are getting the initial set of questions. This is assigned to a human. So which means that it goes to someone maybe in the HR or somebody on the software engineering team who determines based on the candidate profile, what kind of questions to ask and, can set the preference. So for example, in this case, the candidate name is Viren and language is Python, which means this interview is going to be focused on conducting questions about Python. There is some data processing here. And then there is the initial question. It talks about the initial question. Then it waits for the answer from the candidate. So let's say, here is the very first question that was asked. It asked about finding a unique element in an array, right? And the answer was what? What did the candidate answer? Said, I don't know. All right. So what happens when you ask a candidate a question to find unique set of items from a list? You probably want to ask a more simpler question, right? You don't want to go and ask how to invert a binary tree. So here is where another agent comes. So, this fits into another evaluator prompt that looks at the instructions, questions, answers, the historical stuff. I mean, whatever is the history of, all the interview questions and answers, and essentially now makes a decision. So here's our decision tree, right? Either you can simplify the answer, you can give it a hint. If the candidate got almost there, then maybe you can give a hint and ask them the same question again. Or you can essentially, call it done, saying, the interview is done because, I asked all the questions that I asked. Or you can maybe, go to an error condition and maybe terminate the interview. And then finally, what you are going to do is, you are going to kind of send out a thank you email. So, you construct the email text, send out a thank you email. And in parallel, essentially, you create a Google Doc. So here is a simple a worker that essentially stores the transcripts into Google Doc and shares it out on a Slack channel. And that's basically the entire agentic workflow loop, right? You can start using this and, it's probably going to be as good as human, but it saves a ton of time in terms of, pre-screening the candidates. So yeah, as you can see, right, like orchestration is definitely the key when it comes to building the agentic systems. And these are all built on top of Conductor, right? Conductor essentially is a distributed agentic workflow engine. It does all of those things and a lot more. It can do microservices orchestration, APIs, regular plain old workflows, integrations, and so forth. And essentially, the way Conductor works is, Conductor is a server, is an orchestrator / router, whatever you call it. But what it does is that it takes a plan or the DAG that you want to kind of orchestrate. And DAG is a combination of your operators, similar to your programming language constructs, right? Loops, decisions, fork joins, and whatever not. And the steps are essentially your tasks. This can be long-running asynchronous tasks or synchronous API executions. And depending upon your use case, you can trade off latency versus durability there. And more importantly, it allows you to put humans in the loop, which is where a lot of AI use cases that we are seeing are being used where in the end, once the plan is created, the plan is reviewed by the human. So they can look at the diagram and say if this makes sense or not, and either give a feedback to correct it or go and execute those things. And workers essentially are the very lightweight SDK-based code written in pretty much any language, Java, Python, Golang, C#, TypeScript. And they are constantly polling the server to do the work. And again, Conductor SDKs are polyglot. So, you can pretty much use any language and it's pretty straightforward. You can take any function written in Go, Python, Java, annotate them as a worker. And that's pretty much it. It's good to go after that. They are all open source as well. So all right. So in the interest of time, we're just going to skip through all of these things. So how do you get started, right? So again, Conductor is open source. We built Conductor at Netflix. I know there is a next meetup coming up next week at Netflix. This is where we built Conductor. It was open sourced, and then essentially 3 years ago, we took Conductor open source, and Orkes was built to manage the cloud-hosted version of Conductor. You can check out Conductor repo at Conductor OSS on GitHub. And definitely, if you want to be part of the community, more than welcome there. There is a link to the Slack channel there. Feel free to join. It's pretty widely used, of course, at Netflix and many other companies. So I'm going to skip through all of those things. But yeah, if you want to get started, here are some of the links and QR codes. You can feel free to scan it out. If you want to try out any of the examples that I just showed here, you can go to developer.orkescloud.com. That's essentially the cloud-hosted version of Conductor, so that you don't have to set up anything locally and you can start using it. It's free. We don't really charge for it. And there are some code samples here. We continue to add more and more. That the link is given there. All right.
Hi, so we'll take questions now. Just raise your hand and I'll bring the mic to you, make it easier.
I was wondering if you could comment on OpenAI's deep research. Would you call that an agent? Or if no, how would you compare that to a platform like yours?
I think that's also an agent, right? Behind the scenes, essentially, it's doing very similar, or if not the same thing. The key difference is, it's pretty much into their ecosystem versus, typically, if you want to build your own, you also want to be able to connect to your data and systems and whatever not. So that's the flexible part of it.
You said that you don't really charge for this, but on your site, it says request a demo. Do you have a plan to, in the future, start monetizing this?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So the Orkes thing that you're working on?
Yeah.
Right now it's free. Do you have a plan to start monetizing it in the future?
So the developer account is free, but we definitely have a cloud version. We have customers who are using this, and of course, they are paying for it. Yeah.
Actually, it's a two-part question. If agents are so capable, why do we need multi-agents? And so does that mean an agent has a limit in terms of its performance that you require multi? And what is that limit? And then the second question is, you say, oh, this is just as good as human, we just program as human, et cetera. Does it overcome the traditional problems that humans have, like collective action, transaction costs in terms of workers, right? Is that what's happening here in some sense, where if you have these agents, they overcome the traditional obstacles to organizing or the growth of the firm or something like that. I don't know if you know economics or anything like that.
I mean, I can't really comment on the economics part. That's not my area of expertise, to be honest. But I mean, the way to think about, at least the way my kind of frame of reference there is, it allows you to kind of be more productive, right? Just like, when we think about the co-pilots, a lot of times when I want to write my unit test or look at, some of the implement some of the algorithms, I just use the co-pilots to, get it done. Not that I can't do it, just that if somebody can do it in seconds, why should I spend minutes to doing it? So it's about productivity as well, right? And I can focus on more important things that matters and solving the business problem rather than solving the problems that has probably little business value. Yeah.
Quick question. Two questions, actually. How does this compare with BizTalk? Something like BizTalk, which was an orchestration tool a decade ago. And then how does it also compare with Amazon's orchestration tools?
Yeah. So BizTalk and all, if you think about it, right, there is an entire kind of generation and the era of workflow engines. BizTalk is one of them. Then you have IBM's and Oracle. All of them had one. And I think the primary kind of motivation there was that, hey, let's build a workflow engine that will allow people who are the owners of the process, like the business analysts or the process owners, to be able to model a business process. And as a developer, you will take that modeled business process and kind of implement it, right? Reality was that, they would just give it to the developers to do everything. So the way we approached the problem at Netflix was that in the end, if the developers are the one building everything, we should build something that works for us. And the way we understand things is how we program things, right? So fundamental shift is it's a developer-focused product rather than end user, and end users get the visibility, but they don't have to think about how to do those things. They can state their goals and developers can focus. So that's the one area. Second question that you mentioned was when you think about step function on AWS, they came out of the similar thing, right? That let's make it more developer friendly. The key difference is when you think about step functions, and Microsoft now has things like durable functions on Azure and so forth, they are very much rooted into the cloud native or the cloud specific ecosystem. And today, most of the enterprise have a very clear hybrid cloud or multi-cloud strategy. So this is where, things like Conductor plays an important role, which is agnostic to the cloud. You can run on your laptop to on-prem to multi-cloud and whatever not. So otherwise it solves similar problems, but in a more cloud agnostic way.
Over here. Over. What has been some of the more surprising or impactful use cases that you've seen customers use Conductor? And I guess the next part is what do you foresee on the horizon where many companies or customers may not be paying attention to, where Conductor could be highly impactful? Yeah.
Most surprising use case. I think the most surprising use case for Conductor that I have come across is running Conductor on an X-ray machine by I believe GE Healthcare. So when you take an X-ray, it has to go through a whole bunch of decision process, and they embed a very lightweight version of Conductor inside the machine. That was not it was intended for, but they are using it and they seem to be happy. So that's the most surprising use case. Everything else could have been thought about, but that was never something that I could think of. I think the second question was, where else can it be used, right? So I think the most underrated thing is that when you are building applications, right? Let's say even if you are building through microservices, event-driven systems, or even when you think about monoliths, the most underrated aspect of every application development is state management. There is always a state that you have to manage, and whether you know it or not, don't understand or not, you are always building mini workflow engines which are very specific to your use case, right? Order management, booking systems, anything. There's always a steps, and then you have to persist the state and manage and build everything around it. And that's where things like Conductor and workflow engines can play a very powerful role, because they take away all this burden of managing the state from you, and then you can focus on focusing on the core business aspect. Yeah.
We got time for one more question.
So I have seen a lot of agents retrieving data from websites and so on. does it come also with a tool set where it writes back to, let's say, dynamic forms which are rendered dynamically on the website? Let's say using React, it's not like a static website. Are you also providing some tools for this?
So what we do is that when you embed a human task, you can provide the JSON UI schema, and we have a very basic form renderer. But oftentimes the feedback that we have gotten from the users and the customers is that the way they think about the forms is, they want it to be something that they drive, how it is presented, how it is embedded, UX and everything. So they would rather keep that under their control rather than being done by a platform.
Oh, thank you very much for your presentation and for your time.
All right, next up we have Gary from Trae.
Okay, hello everyone. How's it going? Yeah, nice to know you, and thank you so much for coming for this amazing evening. I'm so glad to meet you. So today, I would like to bring a topic about how to code and build faster with AI. Okay, so before that, let me know how many developers we have today. Can you raise your hand? Let me see. 60%. Okay, so how many founders do we have? Okay, it's around 10%. Okay, pretty nice. Today, actually, I would like to bring some gift and a bonus to our developer and founders. So first of all, who am I? So my name is Gary. I'm currently developer operation manager of Trae. So our product is working on AI coding IDE. So I believe a lot of people already heard there's a famous bet is about Sam Altman. He say like, when we going to have $1 billion company that are going to happen? I believe a lot of people already heard it, right? So what do you think? How long it will happen to have like a $1 billion per just one person? 2 years? You don't believe so? Okay, so actually recently I heard most like funny like answers to say like this year. I wish. Okay, so the thing is, actually I also don't know when we're going to have like 1% like $1 billion company, but I'm focused on how we make this. Of course, the answer is AI, but how? This is why we bring Trae. Let's take a look at a video. Okay, so after this video, do you know what kind of product we are roughly is? Any idea? No? Okay, I'm going to explain more, but do you know why our name is Trae, T-R-A-E, after this video? Anyone notice? Or anyone heard Trae before? 1, 2, not that much people. Okay, so the reason why we call our name is Trae is because the real AI engineer. The product we are working on is we try to bring a product that can work like a real AI engineer. So how are we working on it? So as you can see, this is AI IDE. It's kind of similar to VS Code because we also based on VS Code and enable the AI ability into this like IDE. So it can help you coding faster. And the more important thing is it can help you to deliver your product much faster. To enable you become maybe a 10-time engineer, this is how we want to do. And also there's a famous saying, talk is cheap. Show me your code. Okay, let me just working on it. So this is the roughly our like IDE design. So quite similar to VS Code, you can just import your folder, your document or anything, and you can just start to coding. It's quite similar. But the different thing is in the right side, we have chat and builder, like 2 feature. Over there, you can just easily to ask AI to build anything that you want, and then they will start to working, and then it display the website and the result just over there. So I would just start from a totally new, like, okay, a folder over there. Let me start it. So when the first time we learn how to do programming, we always learn how we always like type hello world. So what is the hello world in the AI IDE generation? We will say it's make a snake game. Let's use builder. Okay, so after we type an easy prompt, I will make it bigger. I will help you to create a classical snake game when the player can control and the snake to eat food and grow longer. This is exactly what we want. And right now they start to thinking. So in order to make a snake game, what we should do, then it create the first Python like file. It's called snakegame.py. And right now it start to working. Let's see what are we going to happen. So obviously, boom. So suddenly a lot of code just pop up. I wish it's really good for you. And so you can see there are so many functions about, hey, how you get a position, how to up the position, how to reset, and how to design the food, and also what's the relationship with food and snake. Everything just control over there. And also it shows, hey, now I create a snake game. Let's run it and make sure it's work properly. And it also shows a terminal that to run it. What I need to do, just click run. Okay, it's coming out. Let me try to connect it or control it. Right now, you can see a most easy AI product that we already just produced. This is a snake game. Okay, that's pretty good. So what if we say, hey, I want something different idea. Maybe I want to make the snake become, what kind of color? Yellow or orange? Or make it work, running like faster? Let me try. Okay, over there, I can just easily to click accept all. I accept all the command and the code you just wrote it. I would say, hey, bro, make the snake like became blue color, became blue and run faster. Okay, this is just my idea. I just like type it, use natural language, right? Okay, I will help you to modify the snake game and change the snake color, and they start to thinking. So over there, I'm start to thinking about, hey, what AI they're doing? I'm really curious, right? I want to make sure the code is correct. Then you click preview. It use the red color and the green color to label what kind of different it is. You can easily click yes or click no, or you just say, hey, I accept all and click run. Okay, it's became blue. So this is the most easy demo that I want to show what we can do. I wish it's helpful and maybe can help your work. That's number one. And number two is, so as you can see, Builder is actually an AI that can understand your idea. It will start to thinking with you and come up idea with you and start to build the code with you. This is why we say, hey, we want to bring a product like the real AI engineer. But sometimes you say, I think maybe the code is too slow. I want to have my personal idea. Actually, what is my expectation? It's just asking some question. Yeah, for sure, you can do that. This is why we have chat. And I think there's a common question is when your folder is quite big, your code base is like extremely large. Sometimes like the LM, they just don't have this kind of big context, right? How we should do it? What we do is we have this. We have the context. You can just tell them which part of code, which part of file, which part of folder and workspace you want them to like read. And by do this way, your code, your AI can understand, like for example, the snakegame.py really well, and then give you the answer. Right now, I would just say, hey, what's this code? What's the logic of this code? For example, I'm just a new beginner. I just get a new project, right? I wish AI can help me to handle like the new products. I will say, hey, can you help me to read this code? I just tell them, and then it gets the context. Okay, I will help you to understand that. First of all, we have setup and constants, and we have the main class, and this is the snake. We have the food. This is the two object, and also our logic is inside of main.function. The function over there. What kind of feature we have, and what kind of game, how we should play this game. So, as you can see. Right now, we are not just an AI builder that can help you to write the code, but also become a teacher, a master, a mentor about your project, right? This is one use case. So this is just a most easy use case. Can we do something different? Let's try it out. Okay, we already built a snake game, right? Sometimes what if we make some mistake? Actually, I don't want this kind of modification. We also have the design for you. You just easily click revert to the state before the run. We already make all the version management for you. You just easily to going back to like the dialogue you just already had. And then let's build another project. Make a like landing page by Nest.js. Okay, it also start to work on it. Okay, I will help you to create a modern landing page. Personally, I like Nest.js so much. I don't know how many front-end or full-stack engineer do we have over there. What is your favorite like language structure? React, Vue, or something? So I do nothing, and it just use an easy command, help me to like download. Okay, it looks like it has some bug, right? So let's try a different one. Okay, looks like it's work. Yes. Boom. Our Nest.js project just coming out. Easy. I didn't write any code yet. I didn't even use the terminal at all. Okay, it started running, started thinking. So just let AI start thinking. Let's talk about something else. What we had is not just about let AI do something. We also have the like a multimodal. For example, if I want to design a website, just like our Trae official website, what we can do? We can just like give a screenshot to it. Over there, screenshot, and we just directly copy over there. But since this project is working on, let me start another new project. Oh. Let me. Second. First of all, this project is finished. Let's take a look. Let's see how this website is going to be. And we have another feature is sometimes when you're working on like a website, right? You just don't know what kind of result you're going to have. So this is why we have a preview. So you can easily to see the result and what kind of website you already developed over there. Let's make it bigger. So this is the website, the landing page, your brand building something amazing. And this is the result that AI just developed. Okay, right now I can also tell them, hey, I want to create a Trae official website. And I copy this image and I tell them, let them work in. So we will see what they can produce to us. Okay. Okay, make the website like this, like the image. So still thinking, let's try something different. So previously, I also just use the builder, create a website like this. It has a landing page. It also has a like music player. So let's try. Okay, this is someone like you. I don't know how many people like Adele. Is anyone? Yeah. Okay, what about next one? Empty love. I didn't write any code. Everything is just like a write by the AI. I would trade your AI engineer friend. Okay, so I'm just going to show this like this. If you're interested, you can just try it at home. So looks like still working on it. And let's try to refresh. Okay, looks like the AI didn't learn that well, but already tried to change the design like I already showed it before, like our Trae official website. And this is, to be honest, for me, I kind of like the design, at least better than me. Thinking about when the Trae can be really helpful. For example, when you use a title.
Finished because you interrupted it, or was that a final design?
Let me take a look. Oh yeah, looks like still working on it.
So you interrupted it, and that's like it's in process of changing, that's why it looks like happening, or no?
Yeah, I think so, because I just like interreacted. Okay, so by this way, you can also click what kind of code it just shows. Let's click accept all and refresh. Okay, looks like design is still not exactly the same, but I believe you guys already know the power of Trae AI. Okay, thinking about everyone hate Taiwan CSS. I don't know everyone, but at least for me, I hate it because you need to remember so many different parameters, right? Check, control the distance, control the color, control like the font size. But with the help of AI, you can just tell them, hey, what kind of size I want. Just do it for me. I also don't want to do it. By this way, it can save a lot of time and energy to you. You don't have to waste the time to remember those like complicated like parameters. Just tell your idea. Just tell your imagination to Trae. They will work for you. Okay, let's going back to our Trae. So I give some reason that why we should start to switch to Trae from VS Code right now, because number one, we give you a really powerful AI coding ability. And number two is a lot of people say we actually has a really great UI and also user experience. As you can see, when you need to click you need to install the environment, you need to run the like terminal. We already give all the instruction in the right side. What do you need to do? Just click yes or no. So it saves your time. Number three is we support like nearly most of the VS Code extension. You can just easily to use VS Code and tell them, hey, what kind of VS Code is like configuration I want, they will just easily transfer to your current trade. So number 4 is we also support a multimodal. As you can see, we allow you to just import an image. Imagine you are a founder, you are a product manager, or you are UI UX designer. You want to create something, but you don't know how to code, or you're not good at it. At that moment, Trae will be your best friend. Number 5, we also support like several programming language. Most of it. I cannot guarantee all the language in the world, especially those language most of people they even don't know it. But at least for Python, React, and this main language, we support it. And another reason is we are free. This is a really big part. So right now we support, let me see how many models we have. We have Cloud Sona 3.5. We also have amazing like 3.7. As we all know, this is the best coding languages in the world right now. And for you, it's free to use it. You don't have to pay any dollar in this product, at least right now. And also we have the DeepSeek. Everyone knows DeepSeek, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's nice. We have DeepSeek R1 and the V3. For me, DeepSeek R1, they're good at the reasoning, but it's not a good friend for you to apply in the builder because they think too much, right? Even a small question, you say, hey, hello, they will start to think, hey, this guy's talking to hello to me. I should be gentle, I should be polite, blah, blah, blah. It's so slow. This is the word you don't want it. But for example, in the chat mode, when you want to ask a question, when you want to have some new idea, you can definitely use R1. It's a good friend. Okay, so what a Trae can bring to you. This is roughly data. I just get it from like our customer, our user. It's not exactly the same, but at least for front-end engineers, some people, they say, hey, I think Trae can help me to improve like 3 times to 4 times efficiency. So for the back end, we are not that amazing like front end, but we can still like help you about 2 or 3 times. But for a technical team, maybe we can bring you around, say, more than 40% like cost. And also for the company, you can increase like 50% profit. But this data, I cannot guarantee everyone has it. You need to discover and explore it. But definitely in the Silicon Valley, I believe there is one common question. Engineer in the Silicon Valley is extremely expensive, especially you want to be a startup, right? You want to like create your own product. You cannot say, I go to the Google and hire a software engineer like every year. It's like 200K, 300K. This costs a lot. But right now with the Trace help, maybe a small team, or maybe even a 1-person team, you can start to deliver your product and to the market. This is why we bring our program built on Trae. So we really welcome that you use Trae to build anything, no matter it's MVP, plugin, or just a GitHub project, or even a real product. Just showcase it on the internet. You can write it as a post, as an article, as a video. Just tag build on Trae on the Twitter or our Discord channel. Give me a second, I will let you know later. And then you will get our help. First of all, we will help you in the social media, no matter like Twitter, Discord, Instagram, and our community, like different community in the worldwide. And also we have a lot of AI partner. They also has a lot of channel to help you get more attention. Also, we have our official website, like the Medium website, to help you get more attention, to help your product growth. There's a really famous example recently, which we already have. There's one founder, he's from Canada, and he only have like a 2-person team, just him and the band. These 2-person use Trae to build a product in 1 month. And they go to the product hunt, get a number 4. In that day, they get more than like thousands users and also 1 B2B offer. Also like several paying customer just in 1 month. This is the amazing thing that we want to see. Trae help more people, help individual to become the better one. Also, we want to collect this amazing like example in our website and also showcase you to the whole world. For example, yesterday, I think we just hold a live stream on Discord, YouTube, and Twitter. In total, we get around like 300K audience. And also, we will also collect this story, showcase on our Twitter to let more people to know your product and your influence. So this is an what is our mission and what is our vision? This is actually what I want to talk about. Definitely right now, there are a lot of AI coding products, so many in the world. No matter it's like GitHub Copilot or Cursor or anything, Windows Server, there's so many, right? So what's the difference between us with them? So I think the biggest difference is actually from our vision. So first of all, for our mission, we want to create like seamless human AI cooperation, boost the productivity and accelerate the innovation. Okay, this is official word. Okay, in my opinion, my boss just told me our real idea is collaboration. What is the best collaboration between AI and human? So right now, everyone in the media, they say, hey, AI going to replace people. Actually, I don't think so. In my opinion, AI is unleash humans' imagination. AI allowed everyone to create your idea just individually, even you without a big team or with a lot of money, you can just start working on. We want to help you to find the best balance between AI and the human. Number two is we want to become the real AI engineer that every developers they need. This is why we focus on collaboration. We also focus on our user experience. This is why when you try to use our product, you will realize we are not a product just focus on, hey, how you code faster? What is the shortcut? We don't want to be a like really geek product. We want to be a really comfortable and a friendly product because our product is your friend, is companion. It's the real AI engineers, just like a person, stay with you, understand your code, and also know a lot of knowledge and also help you to build. So this is what we want. Okay, this is another like funny raffle section. So if you are interested to know more about the Trae, you can just scan the code. This is the WhatsApp like QR code. Join our AI coding club. We're going to hold like more event in the whole Bay Area, even in the different world. We will also invite the people to join our live stream. No matter you are a developer, no matter you are a founder, join us. We will try to promote you. We will try to make your words or your voice be heard by the whole world. Okay, so if you join our community, we also have the Twitter like link over there. You can subscribe us and post the event about the Trae. Just tag like Trae AI Meetup on Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever. And I'm going to pick 2 person and give like 50% gift card for each person. Okay, this is my personal contact in the right side. This is my LinkedIn. If you want to know more, just connect me. I would like to give more help to help you how to use Trae to leverage your imagination and also help your product, your work life becoming better. In the left is the Trae Twitter. Okay, so I'm just going to showcase like a while. Okay, so that's all. Thank you so much. Okay, please.
Any questions?
Thank you very much. Great talk. Appreciated it. In my experience, the real value of a software engineer is not the ability to create new greenfield applications, but to maintain existing applications and adapt them over time based on changing requirements. So my only question, well, my real question is, how do you manage requirements? So I understand in your chat window, you can put what you're putting there is essentially a requirement. But say if I have a requirement doc, a markup doc for requirements of maybe 100K or 200K markup doc, how good would your system be at assessing the requirements in that markup document and adapting existing code?
Okay, so this is a good question. First of all, if we need to complete like the requirements you say, first of all, Trae need to understand document. Is that correct? First, I need to understand document. And currently, I'm not sure that we support document or not, but I can make sure is you can definitely copy like the PRD, the product manager just wrote it. You can copy and paste on it. Usually speaking, I don't believe a product manager will write like more than 200 case, right? So if this is just normal, like a normal PRD, you can just easily copy and paste on it. But for extremely long document, yeah, I think in the future we're going to support, for example, the rack for it. So I think it can complete the work.
Based on your example, using this, couldn't you put the document requirements into the code base and add it?
Sorry, can you be closer?
Sorry, couldn't you put those requirements in a document in the code base and add it as context? Would that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, you can definitely put this doc like in the code base, but I'm not sure it's going to understand this document right now. But if it's code, definitely we can understand that. Or it's marked down. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for the demo. You were briefly talking about managing big projects with a lot of files, and there was an example where you could manually select which files were added onto the context. Are you looking at ways where, so the use case would be, I don't even know which file to add to the context. I just got this project. I want to change, one table in the database. Are you looking at some kind of ways to maybe index the files in a way that the AI could have a better way to pick which files automatically to add to the context? Some kind of, project-wide index, basically?
This is a really technical question. First of all, I think I need to ask our technical people. I'm not sure with this, but we can talk later, and I will ask them. And number two is, if just in order to understand which file that we should working on, we can definitely support that. In the chat, you can directly ask, hey, like we have so many files, we have so many code base and a folder. Which one I should start first? We can definitely support this. This is what we want, because thinking about a really great like expert of this product, he should understand this code base really well, right? Yeah, so definitely we can do this, but at least how, I cannot answer you right now.
Thanks for the talk. Quick question. Is there a way to run practices like code reviews, running unit tests, or managing a CI/CD pipeline on top of the application?
So for the unit test, for sure, you can directly write the unit test. You can say, hey, right now I got like more than 10 functions, several API, write a unit test for me. Just tell builder. The builder will just automatically write it for you, even though it's like several different files. We can cross the file and the folder to work for you. This is number one. At least the CI/CD, I think you can definitely do it as well. If it has the really clear instruction, which code, which API it is, we can definitely working on it. But at least a real detail, I'm not working on CI/CD, so I cannot tell you right now, but we can definitely try it.
Hi, thanks for the demo. And when you say free, that means you also pay the model cost, or we can bring our model?
So, I mean, probably next month, you can bring your own model. You just connect the API. I mean, next month. But right now, if you use the Trae, we cover all the cost, no matter 3.5, 3.7. So welcome to have a try.
Oh, thank you. And because my experience using ChatGPT 4.0 is pretty bad, it failed over maybe 200 lines of code. So from your experience, which model is the best? And when we try Trae, which model you suggest we use?
Anyone know that? Which model? Of course, Cloud 3.7. This is currently the best AI coding model. And I think recently we were also joining another AI hackathon, maybe AGI House. I heard that Anthropic, the co-founder, will be there. So I think we will also join that hackathon because they did a really good job about AI coding.
Yes, I got a question. Wait, was the guy over?
Oh, you're here.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, my name is George Sutton. I have a diploma and I'm working on my second in cybersecurity, so I have some prior knowledge to a lot of stuff. But my major question is, is your program compatible with brain-computer interface? And if so, how and what way?
Sorry, you mean what kind of interface?
Brain and computer interface or brain technology. Is your program compatible with brain technology? If so, how?
So how?
Yes.
Oh, brain. Oh,
BCI, brain computer interface technology.
this is like really a state of art. I'm not sure about this, to be honest. This question, I'm not sure, but we will definitely try to do as much as we can.
Gotcha. So it's not at that stage yet? Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's the stage. Okay. Any another question?
I have a question here. The friend. Hi.
Oh,
How is this different from other Copilot and Cursor and other IDEs? Like you said, the mission is different, but still the end product looks very similar today.
So, yeah, a lot of people recently asked us what's the difference between another AI tool. So this question is just like, yeah, all of us, we are working on AI coding, but it's just like Twitter and WhatsApp, they all both working on the social media. They have different mission, and eventually they're going to become different product. This is the concept. And the number one is, for example, compare with GitHub Copilot. Copilot right now is more like working on autocomplete some part of a code, maybe just one part, one file. But right now, we can do more than that. We can build for you. We can understand like what is your requirement. We can control so many different files, so many folder. We can understand and modify the code at the same time. This is what we say is more advanced than GitHub Copilot, at least right now. But compared with Cursor, yes, right now we are kind of similar, I have to say. But the difference right now is, number one, it's about the price right now, right? We are free. And some people, they will pay a lot of money on Cursor. Number two is, if you really try Trae and Cursor, you will find it's actually a lot of different. For example, I still feel like Cursor is focused on coding itself. Some shortcut, how to make it faster or something. Maybe they work better on how to code for some part of code. But for Trae, we will have a lot of small feature, like no matter it's the button, no matter it's the UI, we will try to make your coding experience extremely smooth. We want you to enjoy coding. This is our point. And no matter who you are, no matter you are a geek, you are an amazing software engineer, everyone can start to working on it. And eventually, we want to be an amazing software that's literally like a companion with you. If you have idea, you say, hey, I want to build an app just for today's event, and boom, it can work on it. I don't have to understand like any part of code at all. So this is our difference. We are not just focused on code. Remember, collaboration. How to find the best balance between the human and AI. We are exploring right now. Yeah, that's the answer.
One question and one suggestion.
Okay.
So the question is, how do you approach change management? Do you have or propose to have any kind of integration with tools like Jira? So for example, in Jira, you have user stories, you have Kanban board and so on, and you have different changes that will be applied to code. Any kind of future idea on integration and how you might compete against Jira in case they decide to come into your space? And then lastly, my suggestion, maybe you can look at doing roadmaps and visualizing some of the code, but roadmaps. And then from the roadmap, you get projects. And then from the projects, you get different changes to the code at different phases over time. So you might look at integrating something like that. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much for suggestion. So number one, of course, you can connect the Jira with Trae for sure. This is number one. And if you want to use different tool, we also support it, because this is why we say we support a VS Code like extension. You can connect whatever like a management software that you like to use. At least our team, we are not use Jira, we use Migo. I don't know how many people know Migo, but this is like special like management app that we personally, we like. Yeah, this is is that okay? Okay, let me see, where are you?
Hi.
Okay.
Thanks for your talk. My question is, how do you handle data privacy? And if you can talk more about on that aspect, privacy and like sensitive code information.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, we at the beginning when we bring this product, we always value the product and the data safety and privacy. This is number one important thing. If you thinking about every company, they see data as their assets. If we cannot provide the best like privacy policy, how they can believe that, how they can like use our app like comfortably, right? This is number one. We really agree and respect users' privacy and the data. So so what is our solution is, I think we can compare with Cursor, it's similar. Of course, we will use so many different infrastructure and also model like OpenAI, like cloud model. Of course, we will use them because they offer the best service right now. But we also, first of all, from our software side, we make sure that each step we never access users' data. We make sure everything, at least from our side, is safe. Another side is the model company. We already like built the policy with that. They will make sure they not go into training like users' data. They will make sure like every data, every piece of code running in the environment is separately. This is number one. And another thing is our own team, we also use Trae to build our own product. This is what we are using it. So we also believe by ourselves. Yeah, that's the answer. Please.
Thank you so much for starting with that question on privacy. I mean, that was similar in the direction I wanted to go. And I really appreciate the discussion on.
Yeah,
No, it's good. On your customers, because I come from a healthcare environment where there's a lot of problems and very small teams that have a long list of problems to solve, but deal with a lot of sensitive information. And feedback is I keep going with that local model idea because the story you're telling here is great, and I think if you make it really accessible for these small teams in say hospital IT teams or a doctor has an ID, and they need to connect their local private information with these tools, I think you could really see a lot of growth in helping solve a lot of those problems. So
Yeah, no problem.
Important and local models important. So
Definitely.
thank you.
Thank you so much for suggestion. And I think we were working on this. No problem.
Can I ask Trae to write me a tray with different branding and different logo?
Sorry. You mean what? Different?
With different branding and different logo.
You mean different branding, different logo?
Yes. So can I ask Trae to write me a tray, but with my logo and my branding?
You can try.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Any another question? So, okay. So far, that's all. Thank you so much with all the questions. And I'm so glad that everyone come here and wish we have networking and talk later. Thank you so much. And thank you, Baraiya.
Thank you. So we have some time before we run the raffle. So if anybody wants to talk about their product or want to give like a quick startup demo pitch, if you say, please, stage is all yours. But within like next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to start running the raffle. And if you haven't entered the raffle, you still have the chance to go ahead, comment on the LinkedIn post, repost, or make a post of yourself on your by yourself, and then just tag AI Camp. Anybody would like to come give a pitch or anything? Project questions, hiring, looking for a job. You can talk about anything right now. Okay, people are shy today. Yeah, please, Gary, I think you have another question. Oh, sorry. Viren, where's Viren? Oh, it's okay.
Thanks. Yes, in the first demo, I was wondering, did you see cases where, or is that a feature that's supported where the agent would actually build the workflow on the fly specifically for that request? Yeah. Oh, you saw that? Okay.
Yeah, so that was one of the demo that I was showing, right? That the agent is building the workflow on the fly. And like given the requirements and tooling, saying, what are the tools that you can use to build the workflow? Yeah, yes, yeah.
And in which
use case you can share that's
use case that I can share. I mean, not the ones that I can publicly share, but like many of the times what happens is, so if you think about, right, like if you were to build custom workflows, there are only so many workflows you can build. Imagine you have, let's say, 20 different tools. The number of different ways in which you can put all them together is probably different permutations of 20, right? Which is large enough. Versus this is where you can use agents where you can tell them that you have 20 tools and this is what I want to do. You might be using one tool or all 20 of them or using multiple ones of them multiple times. So it can get really complex depending upon the requirements. But that is one area where agents shine because, as programmers, that becomes almost impossible to do it unless you build like 20 if else conditions in a loop with 20 different decision trees. Just, yeah.
Any other questions, comments, pitch? Still one more chance. Yes.
I come from a very different background than tech. I work in film. I'm a costume and set deck buyer. And I'm looking to learn how to integrate and intersect AI into procurement and curation. So I don't know how that's going to unfold. I'm just beginning this journey of bridging the creative world and the tech world. So if anybody would like to have a conversation about it with me, I would be very open.
Hi, so I'm a former developer a long time ago, and I've got an idea for a little SaaS product that I'm trying to build. I've tried Replit, I've tried all these kinds of things. It always seems to fall apart when you have to invoke an API, like something as simple as Google Maps to translate, a Latin long into an address. It just gets incredibly complicated, and I haven't been able to figure out how to use these things to do it in any case. So I'm specifically looking at a solar application, which would involve, getting some data and then writing a script and then building a video. There are plenty of script editors I can use, plenty of video editors I can use. If somebody would like to work with me to put it all together, feel free to get in touch. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? We still have a couple more minutes. Get out of your shy shell. It's okay to talk. There we go.
Hi, everyone. My name is James Kim, and I spent the last 4 years working at a mental health care startup, helping scale revenue operations. But recently, I've been passionate about AI, large language models, and agents. So looking for my next opportunity. If anybody knows about any roles within your companies, looking for RevOps or sales ops people, please let me know.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to also mention, there's a book online called Building Minds with Patterns. That book should have been titled Building Minds with Agent Patterns, but it basically speaks about design patterns, and it surveys about 25 cognitive systems that have been in existence. And if anybody's interested in building sophisticated systems, I would recommend that book. It's by Michael S.P. Miller, and it's on Amazon. Building Minds with Patterns.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name is George Sutton. I'm a cybersecurity graduate working on my second degree, but I have two personal projects that I'm working on. I have a history of not just technology, but entertainment, specifically more targeted to music. I started off as an extra. Once was on Bill Nye the Science Guy quite a few times. But back to my project, I'm looking for people for both of my projects. One is paranormal research, and I'm basically taking, research on PSI. I mean, there's all kind of ways to get paid with, PSI research, precognition, et cetera. I guess I could give my email, sutong@807gmail.com, and we can, discuss that there. And my second project kind of consists of some of the first one. I'm working on a brain-computer interface project, which if it's completed within time, it helps define ESP, where we can go on the board and say, hey, this computer picks it up and we can validate in the brain, this is how psychic powers work.